Well, we're on our way to Beloit College in southern Wisconsin. First time we've ever been to Beloit. And we have been doing these reform forums since January of 2007. So it's been 6 years. And if you figure that we've done on average 5 a year, this is 30 or 31 or 32. And this is a particularly exciting one because we have 3 either current or former state senators who have represented the Beloit area, the Wisconsin legislature, the 15th Senate District, over the last 40 years. Also have Bill Barth, who is a very interesting editorial page editor who is not partisan at all and takes shots at both Democrats and Republicans. Although Beloit is a small town, relatively, Beloit College is a small liberal arts college, it should be a pretty interesting event. Get the banner, I'll carry this big box.
How do you get the citizens of Wisconsin to take more ownership and get more excited about state politics? I feel like you always hear about the federal system and what's going on in the federal government, but you never really hear about the state government that much. So how do you get the citizens more excited about state politics?
If there were more competitive districts and it was a 50-50 district, there would be more campaign debates. Sometimes candidates run for election and they don't have any campaign debates at all. They'd have more town meetings, there'd be more listening sessions, and then that would encourage citizens to come out and to be participating.
Redistricting needs to be reformed in the worst way. Beloit could be a poster child for that. It's very safe for all of the office holders because they basically can't lose. Meanwhile, Beloit's representation in Madison is very fragmented, and we no longer have a representative in the Assembly or the Senate who calls Beloit home.
The key is to provide a system that encourages voters to take back the legislature. And that's going to happen when people get upset enough, when people get motivated enough, when people get excited enough about the potential to go out there and elect people who have a common sense agenda.
We also have to just stop this seemingly never-ending effort to restrict people's ability to vote. This state is leading the way backwards in terms of people's right to vote. Voter ID bill, I called it a voter suppression bill when it came out. It was a voter suppression bill. Every piece in that bill was intended to suppress the turnout of a particular group of people. Every piece in that bill.
Well, look, quote, it would be one thing if you were required to show up at the polls, and if you didn't have a prescribed form of ID, a driver's license or a state-issued ID or a certain type of student ID, that you should still be allowed to vote. In South Carolina, you can if you simply sign an affidavit swearing that you are who you say you are. It's all we would have to have in Wisconsin is that affidavit option, and then everybody would be able to vote, even if you didn't have that prescribed form of ID. It was not included in the Wisconsin bill because some of the authors don't even want those people to be able to vote if they don't have the form of ID. And that's really exactly what we shouldn't be doing. We should be making it easier to vote. Vote by mail. We should look at electronic voting. Why not?
revolving door. I think that has to be stopped because that just leads to too many problems. I mean, you become a lobbyist and then you become a legislator and a lobbyist.
Is the legislator that does a little career planning. And what do they do the last 2 or 4 years in the legislature? They think about going to become a lobbyist. So what do they do, especially if they're powerful? Who do they cater to during the last 2 or 4 years they're there? The groups they want to have hire them after they leave.
We have to again reach a point where politicians fear the people they should fear, which is you, the people who vote, the people who are the citizens of the country. We need to demand more if we want to get more.
You actually have more power than you think you do. I'm always amazed that so many people, so many citizens say there's really nothing much we can do. You know, I've worked in legislative and congressional offices on both sides of the aisle. And the thing I found is that when there are 4 or 5 people that start calling, it doesn't take very many, it gets on the radar screen of legislators and it becomes an issue. And if you get 4 or 5 people in every district starting to call on an issue like redistricting reform or disclosure or voting rights, it becomes a movement. It starts in places like this. Thank you.
Like some of the points that were raised about the voter ID laws, I do agree that it really isn't that big of a requirement to ask somebody to prove that they are who they say they are. However, I do feel like the affidavit should be enough, like it is in other states, and that the Wisconsin law is too extreme.
Well, I think this was a great opportunity for public discussion and a really good opportunity for the public to connect with their lawmakers. I feel like the whole point of democracy is to have direct participation and people have their voices heard and be an active part of their government. I think this is a wonderful opportunity for people to bring their ideas, to let their voice be heard, and try to get that connection with their lawmakers, which I think is something you don't see that often, is people don't take that active effort, or there's not that forum for them to take that active, make that active participation. So I think that this is a great opportunity to hear new ideas that you don't really hear about in the media.